It's Ramsey, Dewey, and Rozewski, and we're going to answer a question from one of our viewers about fighting in the gi, grip fighting in particular. So our friend on YouTube had a jiu-jitsu tournament in the gi for the first time, and he's used to no gi grappling, and he wants his underhooks and his overhooks, and he wants to set up a nice arm drag and get a takedown. But it's not happening because the other guy gets a death grip on his collar or his sleeve or his collar and sleeve, and he's like, give me the arm drag, and it's, the other guy's stiff-arming him, and he's like, no, and nothing's working, okay? So we have to understand it's a different sport. There are different grips, and the grips can work for you or against you depending on how you use them. So quick crash course on the grips. We've got a mid-collar grip right about there where we can push and we can pull. This one's pretty easy to strip, and most people will start fighting it right away. So when they do, we're gonna be all sneaky and reach up for a high collar grip where we've got control over the posture right there, right? Or we can get this mid-collar grip right here where we can push and we can pull. I'm gonna pull a little slack out, punch this arm up there deep toward the back of the neck so I can get the high collar grip. And this is a very powerful control. It's kind of like having a collar tie and an underhook together with just one hand. Why? Because this collar wraps around your neck, around your back, around your shoulders like a series of ropes. It's kind of cool. Here, Kyle, can you do that? So he's gonna reach up for that high collar grip where he can start manhandling me, okay? So let's deal with some of these grips. This one in particular, my favorite way to deal with a high collar grip, I gotta create a little bit of extension in the arm and duck under it. He still has a grip, but it no longer has the same control. Can you manhandle me here? No, not as much. Can you manhandle me here? Heck yes, he can. Okay, let's go to that mid-collar grip, same side. Okay, this one we can deal with this a lot of ways. It's not the worst grip, but these knuckles on the chest, he can push me around here pretty easily. He can start pulling. This can be a bother, and this is going to allow him to set up his other grips. So a few things I can do depending on how loose it is. If it's loose, this is going to be harder, right? If your gi is all tucked in nice and tight, you might be able to chuck it off by getting your fingers right next to his fingers. If your hand extends over to the wrist, good luck. It's not going to happen unless you're a beast. But right there on the grip itself, I'm going to look up, posture up, boom, we can strip that off. There are other ways to deal with this too. One of which we have to understand, does he have control of me or do I have control of him? Okay, so could you do that on this side? So he's got a mid-collar grip. I'm going to take this arm up in between. I'm going to shoot it up. I'm going to wrap around here. I can even grab his collar on the inside. Now I've got this control over the whole shoulder here. I'll go and do that. So reach up through the middle, wrap it over the arm, and check that out. Now he's got a whizzer. And if he wants to, he can grab this chunk of fabric right here. And now he's got a whizzer plus an extra grip. And every extra grip you have on the gi gives you extra controls. Okay? Let's deal with the sleeves for a minute. So generally, you're going to start by grabbing a chunk of fabric, and it's not a super secure grip. There are lots of ways to deal with that, but we are going to fight this grip first because it can get worse. It can turn it into a pistol grip or a cuff grip. So I can get a figure four, just like, you know, the Kimura or the Americana, grab my own wrist, not the forearm, but the wrist, and grab his wrist and start driving this down. This can sometimes break it if he's got a fairly casual grip on you. If not, we're going to have to change this. And once again, understand, does he have control of me, or do I have control of him? Because I want his wrist, but this is an awkward angle to grab his wrist. But if he's got a tight grip on here, this can turn into my arm drag that you were asking about. Okay, what can we do with an arm drag? Bring the guy down, break his posture, move him to the side. Now you got to be careful with this, but you can also use your shins. I would want to deal with this arm so he can't grab the leg. I don't know if you can see that, so I'm holding onto that. And I can strip this with my shins and then grab this one. Do you remember your karate moves? High block, Kage-uke? Okay, so what are we doing there? You remember the form, the kata? Cross the arms in front of your chest. The one behind comes up as you do the hikite and pull this back, right? So if he has a fairly loose grip, not a pistol grip, not a cuff grip, but just a grip on the fabric, cross the arms, This one is violently going to pull back as this one comes up. And look, now I've got my own grip. Now I can turn this into a pistol grip or a cuff grip. Speaking of which, let's talk about what these are. Reset my fancy Bruce Lee gi here. So, Kyle's gonna grab, yeah, do you see what he did right there? He grabbed a chunk of fabric close to the cuff. You've got to be very careful. Don't insert your thumb or your fingers into the fabric here. That's one, illegal in the sport of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And the reason why, two, is for your own safety. Is if I have my fingers in here and he pulls away, I just twisted and broke my fingers, right? So grip the outside. It's safer and it's a better control. So I grip around the cuff this way, dig my fingers in like a hook, and reach around the outside with all 5 fingers. I don't insert my thumb on the inside, it's on the outside, it's just stronger. All right, so this is a pretty strong grip. Pulling away is not going to work anymore. It's not going to work. I'm going to have to try to use this grip instead of having it used against me. One thing I can do is bring this hand in and grab his lapel right here. His lapel is now undefended on this side. Sorry, you got some twine on your face. Okay. So right here, Kyle, can you move me around? Can you manhandle me? Yeah, he can move this arm all over the place. Right here, it's anchored to his body. Go ahead, do the same thing. Now it's much, much harder. Okay? So, as a general rule, if somebody has some fabric, grab some of their fabric. Now, of course, there are better points to grab. So if you remember, mid-collar grip, high collar grip, cuff grip, and then the pistol grip right here. So with the pistol grip, we're going to grab the cuff, but then we're going to change hands and twist it. Now it creates this tight enclosure around the wrist right there, and now it's much harder to move the wrist. It's like just tying up the wrist with a rope all the way around, and now we can move the guy around. Here, Kyle, can you get a pistol grip on me? Yeah, I call it a pistol grip because it's like you're holding a handle of a pistol right there, kind of. So, yeah, this can be a difficult one to deal with. It's very strong. So if I can bring myself closer and grab my own grip right here, it's going to be much easier to manipulate him. Now, the belt. Yes, the belt is a grip too. Okay, you can grab any part of the uniform. So if I've got the belt right here and I'm pushing against the shoulder and pulling against here, I can unbalance him to a certain extent. A general rule in gi fighting, grip fighting, is give your opponent more problems than they're giving you. So if he gets a pistol grip, this is a big problem. And I can waste a lot of energy and time trying to break this, and while I'm trying to break this, he's going to be using his other hand and leg to do something else to manipulate my body and win this match, okay? So instead of just trying to move away and get safe, because I won't, I'm not safe anymore, I've got to try to give him additional problems. So I get my own grip, okay? And now I can reach around here, back. I've got an underhook. This is a great combination. We can start doing judo moves. We've got, all of our hip throws. We've got all of that, all of the, what do we call those? Leg reaping throws, etc. In spite of the fact that he has that grip. Now, a grip you really have to watch out for. Collar, sleeve. Essentially, this gives me control over this whole shoulder, right? I can move him this way, I can pull him that way, I can drop down, make angles, right? Like we were talking about arm drags before. If you have collar sleeve right here, you can do an arm drag variation or a collar drag, if you will, because I've got the collar and I've got the sleeve, boom, and rotating it, just like no gi, we would pull right here, okay? Again, this is even more powerful, so pummel for that. So if he's got a grip on me, he's got this one, I pull that one in. Yeah, now we're kind of in an equal position here. We weren't before, but now we are. In fact, maybe I have an extra advantage here because now I've got control over the shoulder. So Kyle, get some grips, whatever grips you want. He's got a pistol grip, get another grip, and he's got a collar grip. So I got to deal with this. Let's start by negating the pistol grip with this one, and I'm going to negate this one with this one. So I've got two inside grips here, okay? Right here, without any grips, Kyle, manhandle me a little bit. Yeah, he's going to do whatever he wants. If I get these grips, notice I'm elevating his arm. Let's move this way a little bit. I can elevate this arm to descend it, move it from a strong position to a weak position. Here, go and see if you can manhandle me, Kyle. Now it's much harder. Now I can just sort of stiff arm him here. Obviously, I won't just play like this the whole time. This is to stop him from imposing his will. So I think that's one of the most important things you can learn as a beginner, rather than trying to break the grips all the time, because a lot of the times you won't. Because your hands just aren't strong enough. And if the other guy's been playing jiu-jitsu for a few years, he probably has death grips. Okay? So here, get some different grips on me. All right, he's got a cuff grip right here, and he's got a belt grip. Okay, so right here, he could, here, manhandle me. Yeah, he's got control over my lower spine. When he pulls on the belt, this is what happens. It breaks my posture right at the belt level. This is a weak position, okay? And with this, he can change my angle, he can change my level, etc. So I've got to do something immediately. I'm going to deal with this grip right away. Okay, let's change sides. So I'm going to make a little slack right here so I can bring this one in to negate this grip. Okay, can you manhandle me with that arm? He still has the belt though, and again, this is a problem. So what did I tell you? Grab some fabric, and preferably the inside, because now I can extend his arm away from me. Can you manhandle me? Now it's more difficult. Now we kind of have the same thing. And now I can get my elbow under his, bring my shoulder closer to his body, and look, now I've got around the back, seatbelt right there, belt grip. Those are some great options. So pummeling in the gi, it's not so much pummeling as it is grip fighting, okay? Do you remember what all those jiu-jitsu instructors tell you? T-Rex arms, keep your arms close to the body. That's a very important cue, because if Kyle has his arms up wide, I can reach under and get whatever grips I want. If Kyle brings his arms in tight, notice now it's difficult to get access to the body because the arms are protecting, right? But as soon as he grabs a grip, you might notice that the arms are now separated from the body. And so if I grab my own grip, look, I can separate them even more and put these into a much weaker position. Now, oh look, we got a gi version of a Russian 2-on-1 right there. Okay? And there's more though. Man, there's so many grip fighting tricks here. Grab a collar grip. The other hand, Kyle, the other. Okay, yes, this is an oddly specific one. Now, I'm gonna grab the fabric around the armpit here. And I'm gonna twist my wrist up to get his shoulder to go. This is important. Here he's strong. Go ahead, move me around. Yeah, and here, minor adjustment, move me around. Now it's much more difficult. What did I do? I turn my wrist down like this. Okay, I've got the fabric on the armpit. I turn it down. Look at that. Now it's much harder for him to move. Now I'm gonna go grab the fabric right under his hand. So my skin is touching his skin. I'm gonna pull down and posture up. And now I can strip that grip and look. Now I've got a Russian tie-up with a much stronger grip. See, ordinarily no-gi, a Russian tie-up is like this, and if you're sweaty, you can slip out. But right here, it's much harder to slip out. So this grip right there, that's golden, the armpit. So you gotta watch out for those guys in the tournaments. There's this trick. They'll wear the smallest possible gi, so it's almost skin tight for their tournaments. And then you try to grab a grip like this, they'll grab you and you'll reach for the armpit and your fingers just slip off because it's like, there's nothing to hold on to. So pro tip right there, shrink your gis a little bit to be form-fitting for tournaments. It does have its drawbacks, but it's harder to hold on to. I've been talking a lot. Kyle, do you have some tips about grip fighting?
I think basically Ramsey went over it in better detail, but a phrase that can help everybody: elbows in, you win; elbows out, there's out. And that goes for all things grappling, wrestling, grip fighting, and jiu-jitsu.
Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.